When I started crocheting, I was really looking for a portable hobby, something I could take on an airplane, on a trip, in my backpack. So it's really important to me that everything I need for basic crochet fits into a small pouch like this one. I always have a retractable tape measure on me. This one I got in a gift bag maybe 10 years ago. It's so useful. It measures in centimeters and inches and is great for measuring myself when I forget my own measurements, but also for measuring other people if you're making a gift for somebody else. I recently got a Clover low-tech stitch counter from Michaels. This has been a game changer because I always forget how many rows I've crocheted already. And if you want to have symmetrical projects, you need to count your stitches. I also always have a half a dozen or a dozen safety eyes on me for any amigurumi emergencies when you feel the need to make a cute little fluffy object and you need eyeballs for it. Stitch markers are also a must-have in my crochet bag. You see, I also have them on my desk, which is where I do most of my crocheting, at my desk at home. But these are vital to mark the beginning and end of rows, and also anywhere in a row where I have to remember to do something, like make a corner or just keep a stitch count. This particular stitch marker was a gift with purchase from the Oxford Yarn Store. It is a glass bead handmade stitch marker. I think it's so pretty, so I carry it around, and it's just so different than the other plastic ones. It has a different top too. It's a safety pin top. This is one of my favorite items in my bag. It is a slip and stitch made in the USA pair of scissors that most importantly is TSA approved. So you can take these on an airplane. They're so small and compact, easy to travel with. They fold up. They're not really sharp enough to hurt you or cut you, but they are perfect for cutting yarn and just always having a pair of scissors on you when you're traveling. I have way too many crochet hooks, and I think my problem is that crochet hooks individually don't seem that expensive. They're about $3, $4, $5, maybe $7 a piece. And every time I see a new one in Michaels or I see one online that's a little bit different, I think, gosh, I wonder if I should try it. Maybe it'll be better for this yarn. Maybe it'll be better for this project. So I pick it up. Sometimes I accidentally buy two of the same hook if I order it online, and then I go into a store and I see it and I forget I've ordered it. This is a problem for me. I have a crochet hook addiction that I need to stop. But they are different. So for example, you can see here these size 10 hooks. The Susan Bates hook is slightly pointier, so it's easier sometimes to push that through a tighter stitch if I'm using a chunkier yarn than it is to push the loops in the thread aluminum hook through. Generally, I do prefer working with the all metal aluminum hooks only because they're lighter. Sometimes I'll start with these Susan Bates hooks with the grippy handle. They are easy to use. I enjoy using them. They're slippery, like the yarn doesn't stick to them. They're great. But my wrist or my finger joints, like my thumb joints especially, sometimes will feel tired if I'm crocheting for a long time. So I'll want to switch to a lighter hook. I've tried hooks like this. This is a size 8 loops and thread hook with a grippy silicone rubber handle. I do think that depending on your hand size, you may want to try different kinds of handles. I do find the yellow one a little bit too big and unwieldy. I do tend to drop this a lot, and you'll see that the workable area on these hooks is very different. The Susan Bates one is far longer than the other one. This is the first hook I ever bought, the 6.5 millimeter hook. I use this a lot with chenille. I love it so much. I don't even have a duplicate 6.5 millimeter one because I love this so much. Same goes for the 6 millimeter one. I believe these are both loops and threads hooks. My Michaels here near me only stocks Susan Bates and loops and threads hooks. So that's why most of my hooks are these two brands. From 5.5 millimeter down to 4 millimeter hooks, I have a lot of hooks in this size range because this seems to be the most popular and useful range of sizes for making wearables, especially in worsted weight and DK weight yarn. Generally, I have preferred using the aluminum hooks in this size range because of the constant motion, and the aluminum hooks just feel lighter to me and they move around a little bit easier. The grippy silicone here seems useful, but it does slow me down a lot. This is a 5 millimeter hook that I use a lot with acrylic yarn. This particular kind of round handle, because it tapers and is slightly narrower on the end, I don't find that this shape slows me down. I think everyone is different. Everyone's hands are different. Everyone's hand size is different. I even tried using a wooden hook here. Well, it's like wooden on the bottom and metal on the top. I bought this hook in England. I wanted to see what that felt like. I don't prefer it. I think mostly because the hook here is a little bit too blunt and it's hard to push through the stitches. Again, in this case, the aluminum hook, this yellow one, is my most used 5mm hook. You can see the difference in shape in between these three hooks. These are actually more similar than comparing other sizes, but it does feel different in your hand, and depending on which yarn you use, you'll see what you like. It's a similar story for me with the 4.5mm hooks that I've tried. I really prefer the aluminum ones all the way through, mostly because they're very light and the tip of the hook is easy to maneuver and easy to push through stitches. I have tried a few silicone and rubber grip handle ones. I like them. The one that I really am not super into is the all aluminum Susan Bates hook that I'm showing you here, the pink one. The head of this hook actually it's really hard to grab the yarn because you see that the gap in the hook is actually so small. I tried a wooden hook. This one I picked up at John Lewis in the UK. I really like this one for working with wool and not acrylic. With acrylic, it tends to stick a little bit to the wood, but the wool slips on and off the wood very well. And the wood hook is very light and also so pretty. When we get to the size 4 hooks, this one in particular, this is by Knit Pro. I bought these in England. They're about 2 or 3 pounds each. I love this flat handle. This is a game changer for me. It is so light and easy to hold between 2 fingers, so I don't feel like I have to grip it with more than 2 fingers. I also like this particular Susan Bates hook as well because it's really long. You see how long it is compared to the other hooks. So depending on which project I'm doing and what kind of yarn I'm using, you see also the heads of the hooks are very different. The Susan Bates one is way pointier. So if I'm using a finer yarn that needs a little bit of a nudge to push through the stitch, I'll use the Susan Bates hook. But generally, if I'm using a very easy to crochet with yarn, I'll use the other one. Again, I picked up a 3.75mm one from Knit Pro, also with the flat handle, and a 2.75mm. I like to use these to do ribs, especially in DK size yarn or even worsted weight yarn, because it creates a really neat and beautiful rib and so easy to handle. This is a 2.25 that I picked up last week that I haven't used yet. Anything under a 2.5mm I haven't really used yet because I haven't gotten into that intricate lace crocheting. I'm still learning, but I love these hooks. These all came in a set together. And I always have 2 tapestry needles in my bag. Thank you so much for watching this video and entertaining my long spiel about all the crochet hooks that I've been hoarding. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.